Now we're going to look at social media, the different types, and some best practices associated with each kind. So what do we mean, first of all, by social media? Social media are the different types of websites that you use to interact with your customers, stakeholders, whatever you want to call them, in a back and forth way. So some examples would be Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. You can also use Pinterest, and those are just a couple examples. So why use social media? The best reason that I came across when I was looking up a lot of this information was that it makes you answer out loud. Why would anyone care about an organization? Can we make people care? Can we cut through all that other noise to share all of these different pieces of information that we're really excited about? And it also keeps you connected to the public. Your website likely is pretty static. It doesn't change very often. And so people might come there for information, but they won't very likely come there for new information or updated, exciting new things going on. And so with social media, you're able to keep them at the forefront of keep you at the forefront of their minds, and also just find a new way to engage and communicate with them outside of the way you normally do. So some organizations are already using social media, some have not really taken that dive yet, and some common barriers that we've heard are, first of all, I'm not good at technology. I don't know how to do it. But that's all right. A lot of them are very simple to use, and there are tons of guides available online in each specific social media type. So if you decide that you want to dive into Instagram, there's a lot of guides available online. If you search Instagram business, Instagram nonprofit organization usage, whatever you want, and there's going to be a lot of guides to kind of help you step by step on opening an account and then working on it. People have also said it's going to be too much cost, whether that's with people, man hours, it might be just fear about having to pay to set it up. But honestly, they're all free to set up. Some of them you can pay extra to have a business account, which comes with different perks, but you can just set up a free account. And if you stick with it, you eventually will have enough followers to justify the time spent on developing it and keeping it up to date. A lot of people also say I don't have time. So even if they do have the money and they realize it's free, they don't have time to worry about it. But most of these can be very low effort at times. Once you have it set up, you can dedicate just 10 minutes a day. Something quick. Maybe you decide that you're going to post one picture a day, and sure, it'll take some time to take the picture, decide to craft your message, but you can also do this ahead of time. Take an hour at the beginning of the week, 30 minutes, whatever seems reasonable, and plan it out. You also don't have to do it daily, which we'll get into a little bit later. And I always like to remind people when they say they don't have time, you check your own social media, right? So you probably have time to get together with your organization's one and get it moving. And also, a lot of people say, I just don't know what to do. This seems really hard. I have my own social media that I use, but that's just for my personal stuff. How do I manage what I should be putting on, what people are interested in? And the guides will tell you some suggestions, but it really comes down to trial and error. Certain stakeholders like pictures, certain stakeholders like to have more information. Maybe you try opening Facebook and Pinterest and see where you get more engagement with your stakeholders. And so it's really about trial and error. But really at the end, everybody can use social media. So like I said, there doesn't necessarily need to be a lot of cost involved at all. So let's take a look at some no-cost ideas for social media. One option could be a donor of the day or week. If you have a lot of people supporting you, it's great to take the time to say thank you, especially if they have a social media account. So this could be that you have an organization that has collected a lot of books for you, and they've been doing that over the course of the past month, and they delivered them all today. Thank them. Or even advertise their book drive campaign if you can. Some other ideas could be interacting with relevant pages or profiles. So if you're an after-school organization, connect with other after-school organizations, or connect with the National After-School Association, After School Alliance. Connect with these people and interact with them. And that interaction can be liking a page, it can be sharing a post that they have, or sharing a website they have. But that's free, just to connect with another program, and that activity will oftentimes show up on your site depending on the site that you're using. Also, link to your homepage with a specific ask. You can say, with the book drive example, we have our company A is collecting books for us this month. Please consider making a donation from their website, and then linking to their website. Also, you can put behind the scenes content. People do like that, especially I've seen a lot of after school programs when they're closed down for professional development day, snapping a picture of what the staff are learning or what they're working on and posting that, so that if parents are on, they're saying, okay, you know, maybe it was a little tough that I had to find alternative options for my kids today, but wow, I see that they're doing such an awesome job working on new STEM activities, or I see that they're getting, you know, interacting with teachers from the schools, whatever it might be. Also post a thank you message on your sponsors page, link to your own page. Also, pictures are huge. We'll talk about this in a little bit, but pictures are huge. They're free to take, free to upload. Might as well utilize that. Also, in order to get more engagement, it's great to ask questions and encourage interaction. So you might say, we have summer camp coming up. What was your favorite part of your summer camp as a kid? And encourage people to respond and kind of interact with you. They might say, my favorite part of summer camp was going to the pool. And then somebody else might say, oh, me too. I used to always go down to this pool. And so they have that interaction. And you can reply by interacting with them, saying, oh, I agree. I love the pool. Luckily, at our summer camp, the kids get to go 3 times a week. And so utilizing it that way. That is a lot easier to do once you have followers. So that's not necessarily something you start off with, but once you have enough people visiting your page, then you can start that interaction. You can also share content more than once at different times of day. So maybe at the beginning of the day, you just make an announcement, then you post a picture, then you add a hashtag. You also want to make sure that you track your social media mentions. So if somebody else mentions you, then you can share that post or say, thanks for mentioning us, and sharing it with your followers. And it's great to always think about who's following you and analyze it. That's free to do. You just need to keep track of it. And there are some free tools available online for you as well. When you start your social media page, it's great to have a group of supporters who can jumpstart engagement with your content. So that might be asking all of your staff to like the page if that's appropriate. If it's Instagram, that's great, because then they don't necessarily have to share their account as well. With Facebook, that might be a little harder. Or just asking your board members to get on there, whatever it might be. One way to fix your time problem and thinking about how much time you have to pay somebody to engage with your social media is to schedule quick quote-unquote drive-bys of your social media. So maybe it's that when you walk into the office, sit down at 9 a.m., then you need to go on and just do a quick 15 minutes, a check, follow up with anybody, maybe around noon you do it again, and then before you leave. Also, I encourage you to respond to everybody. It's a free way to interact with them and can really mean a lot to have that engagement that they know is personalized to them. And another great free idea is to participate in Twitter chats. There are a lot of Twitter chats that go on, which is where there's some topic that people want to talk about. There's a lot that are available surrounding education, youth development, those different pieces. Somebody says, all right, we're going to talk about youth literacy at 2 p.m. on Thursday, April 8th, whatever it might be. And then you go on your Twitter account and you use a certain hashtag, and then you get to communicate with people and hear what they're saying, show what you're saying, and then that creates a big presence for you. So those are just some no-cost ideas. There's a lot of options out there, and I would definitely encourage you to kind of look around and see what other options are available. When you're using social media, there are a lot of ideas out there about different types of interactions you should have with your stakeholders and the people you're engaging with on the platform. One of the big questions is, what kind of content should we have available? Should it be all our content? Should we be sharing others' content? What are the different thoughts around that? And there's a few different ideas. One person suggested having 4 pieces of content from somebody else. 1 reshare, so taking somebody else's content directly from the platform, directly from Facebook, say, hitting that share button and sharing it, and 1 self-serving post, so one that you make yourself about your program. When you're thinking about that, that's great. Yes, there's some time to put in to get different types of content from other people, but that could be an interesting article about youth development. It could be sharing a fun activity that you saw on a STEM website that you think would be great for families to do at home together. And so those different options. Another suggestion was 5 pieces of content from others, 3 pieces from you, and 2 personal updates. So different numbers, but showing you still that it doesn't need to all be your new information. What I did find online was the golden ratio that most people agree on is 60% of your information should be other people's content, 30% should be your content, and 10% should be promotional. So that 60% others content might be saying, I'm sharing this interesting article about youth development. I am sharing this statement made by National After School Association about some lobbying that they're doing. 60% of that sort of thing. 30% your content. That might be, here's a cool picture of something fun we did this week at our program. Another one might be that you're sharing who your youth of the month was. And then that 10% promotional might be, we have spring break camp coming up, sign up today. And so kind of balancing those different pieces. But the idea being that most of the content does not need to come from you. Here we have a picture from HubSpot, marketing and sales software, looking at nonprofit social media strategy. So it shows that these different areas, the 3 A's, can be broken down into 3 pretty equal parts, where you're having one section that's really about appreciation, thanking, recognizing your donors, supporters, volunteers, and employees. A section where you're engaging and sharing the content of others, and then another section where you're soliciting donations or help. So this is kind of a different strategy to look at. This social media strategy is definitely looking more at getting donations, thanking your donors, those different pieces. And so if that's what you're looking for, then using this 3/3 strategy, it maybe will work better for you than the 60% other content, 30% your content, and 10% appeals. So my point by showing you all this different information is that social media can look very different depending on what your program needs and what works best for you. There's a lot of different options out there, a lot of different guides, and so you really just need to narrow in on what your goal is with it, who your stakeholders are, and how you can make it work for you.